This is the plaintiff, Stephen Corsaro. He says he rented an apartment to the defendant for 3 years, and one early morning at 4 a.m. he received a bizarre text saying he was leaving the country and moving out. That day when he woke up, he went by and the guy had already vacated, and what he left behind was a disgusting mess. Lots of damage to the walls and floors, and he's here suing for the $880.50 it cost to get the place back up to speed so he could re-rent it. This is the defendant, Kevin Blackwood. He says he's shocked and appalled the plaintiff suing him because he left no mess and no damages to the floors. He also had a month-to-month lease. He didn't violate any agreement they had, and if anyone has been wronged here, it's him, because the place was infested with animal pests that lived inside the walls. Oh, and money? Ha! He's accused of taking off in the middle of the night. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,196.92 for money he's owed.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff rented to the defendant one day without any warning. The defendant said he was leaving the country and left the apartment a mess. But the defendant says the place was like a zoo. There were so many pets and not his. It's the case of I owe you nothing.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Mr. Corsaro, you are suing your former tenant, Kevin Blackwood, for $880.50 that you say he owes you and refuses to pay. You are counterclaiming $1,196.92, Mr. Blackwood, for security deposit and some other items that we'll go into. Let's hear from you first. What's going on?
The story begins is back in October of 2013. I rented a cottage to Mr. Blackwood. I have a copy of the lease with a check that shows the 1 month security.
Okay.
And the lease stipulates that he would pay the utilities.
Is the cottage on your property?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have that? Okay. And what happens?
So we had a great relationship for over 3 years. And Kevin sent me a text on November 19th of 2016 that said he thinks he outgrew the place, that he wanted to discuss moving. So we talked, and I said, please give us as much notice as possible, and that by law, you needed to give us 30 days notice. That was on November 19th of 2016. And on December 1st of 2016 at 4 a.m., I received a text from Mr. Blackwood that said, I am leaving the country on December 14th. You can have the place back on December 15th.
Okay. Had he paid December?
No. And when I discussed this with him, he says, well, you have my security. The day after getting this text, I went over to see him, and he wasn't there. And I don't know, I had this funny feeling that I peeked in the windows, and all his furnishings were gone. There was just a bunch of garbage and boxes. So we tried to contact him, and we called him and said we'd like to meet him there that evening, just talk to him.
About what?
About him moving out.
What's to talk about? Him moving out? He's not your girlfriend. I mean, he's moving out. So what did you want to talk to him about?
When we could get into the place, because we're still going on the basis that he said we couldn't have access until the 15th.
Okay.
Now, this is only the 2nd.
Wait, did he say he would show up, or you just announced?
He did.
Can we? Okay.
No. So then we talked to him again, and then he had one excuse after another, and then we received a text after the phone conversation that said, well, now I don't understand why we need to meet. You know, you could have the place back on the 14th or whatever.
Okay. What are you suing for? You're suing for the utilities because they came in after he left?
Yes.
So he didn't pay, according to you, he didn't pay utilities
November
that ran
1st,
from October 17th to November 16th. And he also didn't pay utilities that ran from November 17th to December 10th. That's what you're saying.
And I prorated.
And do you agree that that's accurate?
That's accurate, ma'am.
Okay, so that's not a debate.
Yeah.
But according to you, he damaged some things, and that's why you are suing him. Tell me what he damaged. 3 things, you say. Hardwood floors for cleaning costs and garbage removal, and a hole in the wall. Talk to me about those things.
There was a hole in the wall. I don't know if you'd like to see the pictures.
Yeah, how did the hole get there? Do you know?
He claims that he heard something in the wall, so he punched a hole in the wall.
Okay, and did he tell you he was going to do that beforehand because he was hearing critters in the walls?
No.
Okay, so you just kind of found it that way.
Yeah.
So I can see that that's rusty and kind of gross. What is this a picture of?
That's the damage. Basically, he had a desk and a computer workstation set up, and obviously nothing to protect the floor, so it just completely wore the floor out.
And this is all the junk you left behind?
Yeah.
Okay, what happened? Why was everything so precipitous and in the middle of the night and all that?
Well, from day one, Steve is correct. I mean, we did have a good relationship.
It's so sad you all are here then.
Well, I was sort of like at the edge when I left. And the reason for that is I had some pests in the apartment that it seemed like we couldn't get rid of. And the reason why I put a hole in the wall is actually a critter around that area. And I had mentioned to Steve that I did that. I didn't just, punch a hole in the wall. I actually drilled a hole in the wall. And that critter
I know, it does look jagged.
He left from that area and moved to the other side of the house.
Apparently, his texts show that he was concerned about this and bringing this to your attention. Did you ever hire a professional to come, check the eaves, put the bring the bait to get the animal to come out?
I'm sorry to cut you off, ma'am. Every time I threatened to call an exterminator, guess who showed up? Doo-doo. Always there.
Why didn't you just call the exterminator?
I know every time I threatened, he showed up.
Don't threaten. Shut your mouth and call the exterminator.
You're absolutely right, but when I got on the phone, thought exterminator, he was there. I mean, it was...
So, do tenants typically abuse the apartment that they rent, not respect it?
Not typically.
Not typically?
No, not everybody's out to ruin the apartment.
Well, and not even so much ruin, but, they don't necessarily take the kind of care that they would if they owned.
I like to party, and sometimes the apartment suffers from that, so.
If you owned it, would it be different?
Yes, definitely.
Well, you see, now we're getting somewhere. What do you say? It's like they're exercising their Miranda rights because we know what you've done. Okay, going inside the courtroom.
Look, you've got a right to leave. You have a right to leave. All you got to do is give 30 days notice. Assuming that you're taking the December rent out of the thing, you have a total right to do that. That is not what security deposits are for. Tenants like to think that's what they're for because it's easier and cheaper for them to, have it that way. But fine, but we don't really have to debate notice or anything else. The man wants to leave, he gets to leave, period. So now let's discuss what he's talking about in terms of damages, and then we'll get to your case. According to him, you left the place a little bit dirty, and there's a hole in the wall that needs to be fixed. What's all that?
I don't know what that is because I cleaned the apartment before I went.
Before you left?
Before I left, I was
Well,
cleaning
let's take a look at all these
Can I see what that is,
Yeah.
please? This is just garbage. I did, but I have a
Did you leave it behind, yes or no?
No, I didn't leave this behind. No, I cleaned the place.
Okay, how did he get in to take those pictures then?
I don't know.
Well, he took the pictures. You didn't give him those pictures. He's in there, which means that you have left by that point because he doesn't get in there until you leave, right? We know that, and you just told me you never came back after the second.
No, I went in after the second, ma'am.
Oh, now you went in after the
No,
second?
I did. It's just my timeline's just a little off.
Well, yeah, it's important. That's why I do what is called cross-examination. All right, hand that over. So the damage to the hardwood floors, show him the picture specifically. Stop talking to him. He's not ruling on the case. I am. Listen to me. Go back there and show him the pictures again. The damage to the hardwood floors that he's showing in that picture. Talk to me about that. He says that that's where your desk was or some such thing.
Yeah, that's where my desk was.
So is that from just the rolling of the chair?
I think so, yes.
Okay. And do you have an estimate for what that will cost to buff out?
Yes.
Yeah, let me see it. So the garbage removal, he wants to charge you $150, and the clean. Patch and repair hole in wall, paint wall repaired, hardwood floor damage, $235, paid in full, $570. So what he's suing you for is $570 in damages plus the utilities. What about this are you fighting? Do you feel like you shouldn't have to pay it because, what is it you feel?
Well, I feel that I had cause to...
You have cause to just get the heck out of there or hire an exterminator and take it off the rent. That's what you have. Punching a hole in the wall isn't how you get rid of a critter. And then the garbage removal, $150. There's a lot of boxes. I think $150 might be a little hefty, but maybe that includes the cleaning. I mean, it just doesn't sound that unreasonable. What is it you're fighting?
Well, I was fighting the damages because I did not leave the place that...
Are you talking about all those boxes?
Yes.
What, you think he put the boxes there so he can take them out later?
Well, I did.
Oh, did that happen?
No, what happened was he did leave a small table and a piece of computer equipment and the moving dolly. So I put them in the corner, took a picture.
Did he pick up this stuff?
No. And I sent him a text that said, "Are you coming to pick up this stuff? It's obviously not garbage." He said he would. And that's when I received the text that said on the December 10th, and that's why I prorated the utilities to the 10th, because he sent me a text that said, "I left the keys on the windowsill."
So he came back on the 10th?
Yes.
And he didn't clean this up? He says he cleaned this up on the 10th.
No.
I was going in the apartment within that duration.
Yeah, did you clean this up?
I did.
How do you figure you'd be entitled to your security deposit back when you know that you didn't pay November utilities and that you didn't pay December rent and then you didn't pay December utilities either?
Because I did not stay the entire month.
So what? You got to give 30 days notice. You want to leave early, but you still got to give 30 days notice.
Well, I gave the notice with the intention of staying. It's just there were times when I couldn't stay in the apartment. I should have vacated the apartment, I don't know, within the first year and a half, perhaps.
Right, because it makes it hard for you to look at me and say the place was unlivable when you lived there. Do you have something for me? A Pixie phone? I don't do Pixie phones.
So he said,
Kevin, your electric last month.
These are the pictures of the meter that he gave him.
Do you want to text it to my phone? And
Not at all. Not at all.
That shows that it's from
No, it won't work that way.
What do you do?
Can't touch the screen.
Can't touch a screen?
Well, it won't move.
Move, darn it.
It's a dinosaur.
I'll say. All right, on your lawsuit against Mr. Blackwood, I find in your favor in the amount of the $880.50. On Mr. Blackwood's lawsuit against Mr. Corsaro, I am ruling 0. That is my verdict. Good luck, folks.
So the plaintiff does prevail. The defendant, Mr. Blackwood's just come out of the courtroom. You're smiling, but I bet you're not really happy.
No, I'm not, because I did not get a chance to really disclose my case. But
well, you know, the judge heard what she had to hear to make the
decision.
decision, and that's really what it comes down to. I don't think you could have said anything, and it would change your mind, you know?
Oh, I think so. I
No?
had some stories.
Well, I don't think so. Otherwise, she would have listened. All right, sorry about that.
perhaps.
That's the way it is.
All right, well, thank you.
You lost. Beg your pardon. Okay, now here comes Mr. Corsaro. Sorry I had to bring this issue to court, but you okay? You got what you were seeking, right?
Yes, very happy.
So you should be happy. You're smiling. You too.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Harvey?
Okay, you know, a lot of people think that when you put a security deposit down and you rent an apartment, the most the landlord can do when you move out is just keep the security. That's not true. The security guarantees them a certain amount if you damage the place. But if you damage it excessively or haven't paid a lot of rent, they can sue you for additional damages.